Bismillah. Are you a puddle or an ocean? A puddle is wide, shallow, and still. When a man is wide, it means he spread himself super thin. He ain't effective. He's not impactful. When a man is shallow, it means he can be measured fast. He's easy to figure out. No depth at all. When a man is still, it means that he stopped moving against any kind of resistance. He's stagnant. Water needs motion to purify itself. Still water breeds disease. The reason I started with water is because water will tell you the truth about men before I say anything about theology. Now let's look at a river, a real river, moving volume. There's a law in fluid dynamics called the continuity principle. And it says this: if the same amount of water is flowing and you narrow the channel, the water doesn't slow down, it speeds up. Constrain the flow and you concentrate the force, you're more powerful. Engineers and scientists have used this for a long time. It's how a nozzle works. It's why a narrow part of a canyon has the most violent currents. Same water, tighter banks, more power. Now remove the banks entirely. Take the same volume of water and give it a lot of freedom, total freedom. What happens? No channel. What happens? You get a flood. Then you get a swamp. The flood destroys everything that it touches for one day. The swamp sits still and it breeds disease for a generation. The same water that can power a hydraulic pump, the same water that could have carried ships and fed a valley, is all wasted because nothing gave it direction that it had to obey. This is the state of the modern man. That's the whole diagnosis in that one concept, that one mental visual image. He was told that freedom means no banks. He was told that any constraint on his appetite, his schedule, his tongue, or his desire is oppression. So he flooded. He touched everything and he built nada. And now he sits still, he sits wide, and he sits shallow, wondering why he feels like he's standing in water. Islam looks at that man and does not give him a pep talk, no motivation, none of that. It offers him banks. The world says that a masculine man don't have to submit to nothing, right? But Islam is built on a word that means submission. So either Islam is a religion that's breaking down men, right? Is weakening men, or the world's definition of masculinity is just wrong. It's corrupted. You see, when submission is done correctly, it concentrates a man. It fortifies a man. It elevates a man's station. It makes a man unfuckwittable. And this is something that you could test against reality, and reality doesn't have the capacity to lie. Every strong man that you ever admired was under submission to something. A fighter is under submission to the training camp, to his trainer, to his weight class, the rules of that squared circle. The physicist submits to science. The pilot submits to a checklist. The surgeon submits to a protocol. Take any man that's operating with force in this world and look closely. You're going to see inside of him a channel that he did not design. He does not negotiate with. His power is not in spite of those banks. His power is those banks. The man who submits to nothing does not become king. Every man is already submitting to something. It could be his appetite, his phone, his fear of other men's opinions of him. The only question is what he's submitting to worthy of him to submit. Now, Islam answers that question in one word: Allah. Submit at the top. Submit to the one who created you. And every lesser master loses its grip on you. It loses its claim on you. Submission to the highest is what frees a man from slavery to everything that is beneath him. Now watch what that submission actually builds. Piece by piece, because Islam does not leave masculinity as a mood. It engineers it by the day. So now we have to talk about intentions. This is one of the first banks. The first hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, the opening of the entire collection, is the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, saying actions are only by intentions and every man will have what he intended. Now understand what that does. Before Islam allows a man to move, it makes him answer a question. That question is why. It's not what are you doing, it's why are you doing it. Niyyah is aim, that's intentions. And the man who is forced to aim before he acts is a man who can no longer drift through his own life. Drift is the default state of the unbuilt male. He works only because the alarm went off. He scrolls only because the phone is there. He argues because he's provoked. He can't help himself. Everything in his day is a reaction, which means what? Everything in his day is owned by whatever provokes him. The man who sets his naya, the man who has intention, wakes up and he sets the aim before the world gets to vote, before everybody else get to tugging at him. This work is for the provision of my family, for the sake of my Lord. The training is to keep the vessel strong enough to carry the load. This silence is chosen. It ain't swallowed. It's not fear. It's chosen. It's by decision. Now, these are all the same actions a drifting man might perform, but a completely different current running through them. Intention is the first narrowing of the channel. The second bank is salah, or it is prayer, the trained will, 5 times a day. Not at times that you feel like doing it, not at times that you choose. A Muslim man must stop what he's doing, wash, put his face to the ground. Some of y'all might look at that like that's being weak. But look at the mechanism. 5 times a day, this man interrupts his own momentum on command. He walks away from the money mid-count. He walks away from an argument mid-sentence. He walks away from his own appetite mid-craving. Whatever had his attention, it drops, because he has an appointment with the most important entity there is. What the eggheads and the bookworms call this, what the scientists call this, it's called self-regulation. Self-regulation is a capacity, and capacities respond to practice. A man who overrides his own impulses on schedule every day for years is running the most consistent discipline program there is, right? David Goggins ain't got a better program than this. Mike Rashid ain't got a better program than this. When you are fasting Ramadan, it does the same work at a higher intensity. Food is there. It's all around you. Water is there. It's all around you. You're hungry and you don't eat because you said you won't eat. And here I hold a firewall, because the firewall is the difference between this teaching and a sales pitch. You see, the discipline is not why a prayer is commanded. The calm is not why the fast is commanded. These are commanded by Allah, and they stand on his authority alone. And the order that they produce in a man's nervous system and his day, that's a sign, a witness. A command came first and the body testifies. Afterwards, the command was good. A witness confirms the case. It does not replace the judge. Now, the third bank is provision as jurisdiction. The Quran says in Surah An-Nisa, verse 34, describes men as qawamun over their households. Translation differ on a single English word, but qawamun is maintainers, protectors, providers, those who have all the responsibility. But the scholars agree on the substance, okay? And that's what matters. The verse assigns men the duty of provisions and protection. It's a load that is placed on our backs, and that load builds our backs. Notice the direction of it. The word defines a man by what he can acquire. The Quran defines him by what he can carry. Provisions in Islam is worshiped through, not just performed. The hadith of intentions turn his labor into devotion. Every dollar earned with the aim of feeding everyone in his care who's counting on him, that's devotion, that's counted. That is a form of worship. So the Muslim man does not work just because he got bills. He works because the people under his roof are his jurisdiction, assigned by Allah. The man does not abandon a post that the Lord assigned. Now, the fourth bank is truth, even against himself. Stand firm in justice as witnesses for Allah, even against yourself, even against your parents, even against your kinfolk and skinfolk. Listen, there's no harder sentence in the training of a man. Even against yourself, what are we talking about? Any coward can tell the truth that costs his enemy. The verse demands the truth that costs you. That's the realest. That is the type of admission that empties your own pockets. The testimony that embarrasses your own family. The word wallah in the mouth of a man who means it. You see, this is where all that fake masculinity falls apart. The loud man, the dominant man, the man performing or pretending or putting on a show of him being hard for y'all, for the camera. Fold him at the exact point where the truth carries a price. Watch how quiet he gets. Watch how humble he gets, right? Watch him get flexible. The Quran builds the opposite creature, A man whose word is fixed regardless of the cost, because his witness is for Allah, not for the gram, not for YouTube, not for social media, not for who's in the room with him. It's for Allah. That man can be killed, but he can't be banged. You see, it's a difference. And everyone who meets him, they feel it. It's in the presence. You got to say a word. Before revelation ever came to Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he joined a pact in Mecca called Hilf al-Fudul. That was an oath amongst different clans to stand with any wrong person in the city, stranger or native. It didn't matter until that person's rights were restored. The Sirah records recorded that even after prophethood that he said that he would join any such pact again if he called. Hold on to that. Think about that. Really sit and ponder on that. The man who would carry the final revelation was already, before the revelation, the kind of man who would put his own body in between the weak and the powerful. And his life after prophethood is documented record of the same pattern. The orphans protected, the enslaved defended, the daughters that were buried alive pre-Islamic Arabia declared sacred. The Prophet also said in a sound hadith in Sahih Muslim that the strong believer is better and more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, while there is good in both. Islam wants the man to be strong. Islam wants men to be masculine. Islam arms us with strength. It builds us with strength. It fortifies us with strength, and then it aims that strength. Strength in Islam is a shield, and a shield has direction. A shield faces outward toward the threat on behalf of whoever is standing behind it. The moment a man's strength turns inward on his own household or on the weak in his own reach, he has not become more masculine. He's deserted his post and he starts attacking the people that he was stationed to guard. This is treason. I love this one. The command to think. The first word of revelation in Surah Al-Alaq, verse 1, was Ikra, read, not fight, not earn, not pray, not conquer, read. The first command of this religion was aimed at the mind, and the Quran never stopped repeating that demand. Do they not reflect? Do they not reason? Do they not look at the heavens and the earth? The Muslim man is commanded to study, to sit with the book, to sit with creation, to think slowly and honestly about all things. He's shallow. A man with no interior is all current and no depth. A shallow water is loud. The reflection, the tafakkur, the nightly accounting of his own soul. This is where man does his hardest fighting. This is the real jihad. This is against his own excuses with no audience for him to perform for. So don't leave here with motivation or a feeling. Leave here with a channel, with banks. To wake up before your phone gets the first vote over your mind. Make wudu. Pray while the house is dark, while everybody sleep. Set your intention for the day out loud in your own chest, because a day without an aim will be aimed by someone else. Go earn, and earn as worship with the people you feed named in the intention. Somewhere in that day, one truth will present itself with a price tag. Pay, say the true thing once, calmly, and let it cost you. Look around your reach, your home, your block, your job, and find the person with the least power in it, and let your presence be the reason that they feel safer. Let your presence be the reason that they don't flinch. And before you sleep, open the book, even one page, and read Ikra, and sit with that information, and then turn the lights out and audit yourself with nobody around. That right there is one day inside the banks. It's not exciting. Rivers are not exciting, but they're unstoppable. So come back to the water, and this time stand in it. You are the river. That was never the question. The volume, the force, the current, your Lord already poured all of that into you the day that he made you. The only question of your life is the banks. The world offered you a flood plan and called it freedom. You seen what you did with it. You seen it spread wide over the years. You know exactly which fields that you drown. Islam is the banks. The fast, the prayer, the intentions, the words you can't break, the weak that you can't touch except to protect, to shield them, the book that you can't stop studying. Every one of them narrows the channel. And you know the law by now. The law does not slow water. Allah did not fence you. He aimed you. And Allah knows best. Assalamu alaikum.